Well, welcome. We're here with Senator head football coach Jeremy Lowry, and my name is Mark Bub Abbott. I'll be doing some of the commentary this year for West Washington live stream and also WWSSR or SR. Put one too many S's in there, but we're fortunate enough to be here today to talk a little bit of about the upcoming 2021 football season here for the West Washington Senators. And joining me, of course, today is head coach Jeremy Lowry. It's a new situation for us, so bear with us. I guess the first thing I should say is if I mess up and say where I come from prior, just roll with it. Don't think anything about it, because it's, after 20-something years of doing that, sometimes it's muscle memory, so you remember those things, but we'll try to do our best. But our reason here today, once again, we just want to kind of go over the West Washington football season upcoming here, as we're just a couple weeks away from things getting real into it. And the scrimmage, 2 weeks away here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
2 weeks from
at North Harrison.
At North Harrison.
Yep.
So that'll be the scrimmage. Of course, that doesn't count. It's just a preseason scrimmage to see where you're at. And a lot of good things happening here with West Washington football. But Coach, first off, and I hadn't had a chance to say this formally on air or on the radio, but congratulations. We're excited to have you here. I'm excited to be here. A new beginning for both of us with a football background. And I know you've been several places, and that was talked about a little bit when you were hired and took over the program here at West Washington. And congratulations on that. I know you're excited, and we're all excited to see what happens here with the Senators coming up this season.
Well, thanks, Bubba. I've said it many times in interview after getting hired and different newspaper articles. My family, we are super excited to be here. Think this is going to be a great fit. We're crazy about the school. We're crazy about getting to come home, being back around family, and it's been a good summer. And like you said, we're getting one step closer.
Right.
We're getting one step closer here in a couple weeks. We're going to head over to North Harrison, and we're going to get a great dress rehearsal there, and then follow that up with week 1 at Eastern Pekin.
Right. Well, and you've had a few inter-squad scrimmages a little bit, and then also some of the other teams from around the area have come in, North Harrison being one of those that we saw here, last week, or no, the week before maybe, in that scrimmage, kind of a 7-on-7, 11-on-11 type thing that is done in the preseason. But, North Harrison, one of those teams that come in here, and they were huge, man. They got off the bus, and I'm thinking, oh boy, our kids are going to be in for a little surprise here. But how much does that really get you guys prepared? It kind of gives you an idea on where you're at and personnel-wise where you're going to be heading into this preseason.
I'll tell you like we tell the kids. It's all part of the process. Right. It's all part of the plan. We had a full summer this summer. We started first week of June. The state of Indiana has their 12-5 rule, which allows you to have 12 contact practices. 5 of those contact practices can be competition days against other schools. We utilized 4 out of 5 of those competition days. We went over to Madison and hooked up with Madison and Scottsburg and Batesville over there. We went to a 7-on-7 at Brownstown, and they have a lineman challenge as well. And we hooked up with Brownstown and a couple other bigger schools, Franklin, Indiana, and Franklin High School, and Bedford was there as well. And then we had a competition here against North Harrison, like you said. Right. And then we had our last one was against North Knox and Scottsburg. So that stuff's very valuable, right. Especially, we consider ourselves a very young team. So getting that playing experience and and getting those live situations on film is huge for us as a staff and being able to move forward. So yeah, all that stuff, all those things, that we feel like it's getting us one step closer to Eastern Pekin. Just like when we go over to North Harrison. Actually, before we go to North Harrison, we're gonna have an inter-squad scrimmage here this Saturday. We're gonna separate into 2 teams and kind of call it our football kickoff. Invite all the whole community out. We're gonna recognize all our youth football players. We're gonna recognize all our junior high football players, and then we're gonna have a little scrimmage with our high school. Fire up the grill, get the ribeyes going, get everybody juiced up about football around here. When you think of West Washington football, one, you think of good football. I'm with you.
Good food.
Yeah, I'm with you. For 20 years,
I
for 20 years,
for that reason.
I was on the other side. And boy, when you get off the bus,
you could smell it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I always say that. I always say they're trying to get in our head a little bit because I'm all ready for the game. As soon as I get off the bus, all I can think about is a ribeye.
Oh, I used to tease Philip Bousman, the late great Philip Bousman, and I know that was leading me into my next point. But yeah, you come out here and I'd say, hey, if there's any of that left, you know where I live. And he was like, well, I don't deliver. You're gonna have to come and get it if you want it. But yeah, that is one great thing here that has always been special. And every time I come here in the past, I always look forward to going to that grill, and I think that was, it's just a great atmosphere pre-game. You get here early, people would come hour and a half early and eat and just kind of chill out and then get ready for some good football.
Yeah.
And, you coming into this season, like I said, kind of leads me into my next point. We lost a great senior class from last year. Probably one of the highest touted classes ever here at West Washington. A lot of kids on that team that had a lot of varsity football experience, and a lot of those kids have went on to the next level and will be playing at different places around the state and some even out of state. But it's always hard to replace a class like that, especially for a 1A school where your numbers are usually a little lower than some of the other schools may have. But you come into this season 6 seniors. Tell us a little bit about those 6 kids and what you're looking for out of them at this point.
Right. So obviously great class, great graduating class. But we're excited. We're excited about what we have coming back. The kids are excited. Some of these kids, especially this 6 you're talking about, they kind of were stuck behind that class for a while. And sometimes it's tough to get yourself on the playing field when you got a real good class like that in front of you. And I think these kids are excited.
Right.
And that's what we talk about is this is your time.
Right.
This is your time. How are you going to leave your mark?
Right.
And I think they're excited about that chance. They're excited about that opportunity. And the cupboard's not bare. A lot of people, well, they graduated this, they graduated that,
Yeah.
We're pleased with the kids we got.
Right.
And again, we're going to say what we say to the kids every day. We're going to control the controllables. That's our job, and that's what we're going to do. And we're going to take those 6 seniors and all those younger classmen, and we're going to go out and we're going to get better at football every day. And we're going to get better at football every week. And, that's going to be the interesting thing here when you talk about this football team and where we're at is it's more about when we're going to figure it out.
Right.
I know we're going to figure it out.
It's coming.
Yeah,
I just don't know.
I know we've got the pieces in the room.
Right.
It's like I tell the kids at the beginning of the year, and I was honest after a couple practices, I saw enough. I was like, hey fellas, talent is not going to determine our fate this year. How far we go, what we accomplish, isn't going to have anything to do with talent. Okay? It's going to have to do with, are we willing to dive in? Are we willing to do the things that other teams aren't willing to do to be successful? And I'm anxious. I'm anxious to see how this thing keeps coming together. We've had a great summer. We talked about some of the things we did this summer. Another great thing we did this summer is we packed up and went to Atterbury one day.
Yeah.
And
I heard about that.
boy, that was an experience for the kids. So we went and spent the day with the National Guard and did some of their team building exercises, and just really loved that day. Big piece of us coming together as a football team. And with all that said, my question's when.
Right.
I know it's going to happen. I know it's going to come together. It's what we're all waiting on is when we're going to see that. Is that going to be week 1? Is that going to be week 4? Is that going to be going into the tournament?
Right.
That's all yet to be determined.
Yeah. And you talk about the Atterbury experience. I think that was a great thing for those kids to see that. And I know my kids, I don't know what you guys told them prior, but I don't think they were expecting what they were going to see when they got there.
We told them they were going to Holiday World.
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't think it was quite that good, but they were like, well, this is going to be a fun trip, boy, when they got home. But it was great, in the same breath, they were like, it was kind of cool, we had to crawl through mud, we crawled under barbed wire, we went over, mountains, so to speak, we climbed walls,
Right.
And of course, if you know my kids, they're not climbers. I'm sure you probably had to help them get over, their teammates did, but that was a great thing, and I think, too, like you said, it builds a lot of team unity as you have to work together to get through some of those things, and football is definitely that.
It was an interesting day. It was definitely physically and mentally challenging, and a lot of the things you said, and then, there was another one. Hey, what happens in Atterbury stays in Atterbury.
Yeah, well, they come home with some muddy clothes, and I said, well, how was that? And my oldest son said, Dad, I got in the mud early, and it was awful. But then he said in the same breath, he said, you know what? Mosquitoes didn't bother me after I crawled through that mud. He said they were staying away from me. So that part of the trip was good and good for the kids.
Yeah, in all seriousness, great experience.
Right.
Great experience.
Yeah, absolutely. The other question, I've had a lot of people ask me, West Washington typically in the past, under Philip Bousman and Coach Nance last year, typically a spread team. They ran that a lot, ran it to a T, and did things well. Your aspect, I know your background in the past, been flexbone at Paoli. Also, I think you ran quite a bit of that. And I know as a coach, you try to adapt to your personnel, and tell us a little bit about what the fans can expect offensively, what you're looking to run, and how the season will go starting out here.
So you hit the nail right on the head. It's all about the players.
Right.
It's all about the kids. And do we have a certain offense that we prefer, and do we have a certain defense that we prefer, and do we have a system on both sides of the ball? Yes, we do.
Right.
But at the end of the day, the magic's in the players. You got to figure out who those kids are and put those kids in the best situations to help your football team. As far as what that looks like here right now, spread in the past for the last, so 2007 at Salem, that's when we switched to the flexbone. So I've been running a flexbone offense since 2007 in some variation. So we've taken a lot of concepts from both. Right. Is kind of where we're at right now. We are in the gun most of the time, and predominantly using flexbone sets. A lot of zone blocking here in the past. That will continue. Right. I think when someone comes out and sees the team, they're going to see some similar things, but they're also going to say, that's a little different. That's a different twist to it, and that's what we want. And I think it's been nice for the kids. Football can be tough when you're starting completely over, and you got a new guy coming in, and you've got new terminology, and terminology in football is a lot like
huge.
It's like learning a foreign language in some aspects. So we were able to overlap some of that terminology and find a nice meeting ground that we thought would be really good for the kids and easy for them to pick up. Right. And it's really progressing.
Yeah. And that terminology, like you said, it's kind of muscle memory.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what I talked about with, not saying the prior school where I was at and
Right.
announce ball games,
Sure.
it's something that gets in your head, and as time goes on and those kids get that down, it makes things a little easier to understand. I'm sure early on, maybe their head was spinning a little bit.
Right.
With a new style offense, different from what they had learned in the past. So, heading into this preseason scrimmage here, and also the North Harrison scrimmage in week 1 against Eastern, tell us a little bit about where you're at right now as far as your personnel, what who's playing here and there, and well, I know you've only got the 6 seniors, and we've talked about, youth, really young football team. Going to have to rely on some of the younger
Sure.
kids to play
Right.
important roles heading into the season here.
Right. So we're kind of at a point where we've really tried to keep the competition still alive.
Right.
So we're kind of at that point where we're not really wanting to say, hey, you're the starting right tackle, you're the starting left tackle, you're the starting center, because we are a young team, and we think one of the advantages we have is that we can really create a lot of competition.
Right.
And we can put a lot of kids on the playing fields. Sometimes when you got a large senior class, and then you got smaller classes below it, sometimes you get a big drop off from that first tier group to the second tier group. We don't necessarily have that falling off the cliff there between the level of they're at. So the nice thing about that is you can get a lot of kids involved.
Right.
And that's what we're still trying to do, trying to keep competitions alive at each and every position. And we'll continue to do that as long as we can.
Right.
Iron sharpens iron. Nothing better than good old competition to make everybody better and keep everybody on the edge of their seat. But like I said, we've got some skill players that are back that everyone's aware of.
Right.
And we're really excited about them, and as well as the other kids on our team. But we like our team speed. We can get out and run, and some of these runners, they've done some things in some really big football games around here in the past.
Yeah, I noticed that during the competition days several different times, you talked about the speed, and it seemed like that was something that worked really well.
Right.
If you were able to get blockers out in front of those speedy guys, that some plays, picked up some pretty good yardage. And I noticed that during those competition games during this preseason part of the schedule here. But the team speed really shows up in 2 areas right now. One, defensively. Right.
When you got a bunch of guys that can run,
Fly around.
yeah, defense gets a lot easier. And then 2, our perimeter game. Our perimeter game and our offense, getting guys out on the edges, our speed's really showing up out there.
Yeah, it seems to be. One thing too that I hadn't talked about that's got to be great for you, and I know you're excited about it, was the staff that come with this job. You inherited a great group of assistant coaches from really top to bottom all the way down into the youth ranks. Guys that have been around this school, this system for a long time. How important is that for you?
I am crazy about our staff. At high school football and our level of high school football, to be able to have a staff that we have here is very rare. We brought most of the staff back from the previous coaching staff from last year, and we were able to add a couple guys also. So you talk about, starting with brick and mortar, Gibby, Coach Gibby. I mean, incredible guy.
One of the best defensive minds around.
Yeah, I call him brick and mortar. I mean, he's been, I feel like I've been coaching in the area a long time, and ever since I've been coaching,
he's been around.
He's been on West Washington sideline and does a great job. And not just X's and O's and defensive coordinator, things like that, but just his relationship with the kids, and just incredible guy, and very genuine. And when you can surround the kids with a bunch of genuine people, the kids know that, and they invest, and they're going to work for you. But no, Gibby's good as gold. And you go on down the list. Dwayne Nance. Dwayne, you blink and, forever, Dwayne was a younger coach in the area. Well, Dwayne and I have talked about that. You go to a clinic now and you're like, what the heck? I'm not the young guy anymore. Dwayne's been here a while now. And what he brings to up front and the offensive line and our strength and conditioning program, just great guy. And then, of course, you've got Logan. Logan Walker was able to work with Logan at, Coach Logan at Salem.
Right.
And then Logan was on my staff at Paoli. And then, of course, on our staff here. So obviously my relationship and that familiarity with Logan is great. And another guy that just relates really well to the kids. Of course, you got Patrick Burks, former senator, bleeds red, white, and blue. Great guy, great mentor for the kids in the program, and does a great job with our linebackers. Andrew Burks, big brother to Patrick, same thing, just super invested and, been around forever and brings some of that maturity to the staff. Andrew and I joke around about, Andrew looks at me and he says, Coach, I may not on the outside look as excited as you are about what's going on. He goes, but I am on the inside. He says, you just got to understand.
It's kind of a gentle giant.
Yeah, he goes, you just got to understand we show it in different ways. And I totally respect that, and I think that's important. I love that our kids have different personalities to be around. I think that's a part of a great staff and a great team is that, we're not taking the cookie cutter approach to this. We want different personalities. We want the kids to get to know different people and what they're about. Then going down the list.
Also got Lee and Matthew.
Yeah, I was making sure I got all the.
Yeah, it looks like you got them all.
Yeah, and then we added Lee Robleski. So Lee is my nephew. Right. Of course, Lee played for me at Paoli. He coached for me at Paoli. He has spent a couple years coaching on the college level at Hanover and Kentucky Wesleyan, and it's always nice to have that young energy. Mm-hmm. And that's what he brings to the table is a lot of that young energy and flying around and fresh ideas, and really good teacher, can really relate to the kids. We're super excited to have him.
Right.
And then Matt Deaton.
Oh yeah.
And you can't say enough about Matt Deaton and the quality individual he is. I mean, in my mind, when you look up West Washington football and you open it up, there's a picture of a couple kids, and one of those pictures is Matt Deaton. Yeah. I mean, cornerstone of the program. Absolutely. And for our kids to get to be around him and a successful businessman that he is, and what a great advantage that is. Keith is still coming around helping us some, of course, and we love having him around, and the more we can get of him, the better. But I'm just really pleased with how the old and the new has really jived. And people always wonder, well, what's going to be like? I know for 20 years I was kind of the villain.
So was I. You're not even bigger villain than I ever was.
For 10
I'm sure there's going to be people watch this and say, what?
Yeah, they're like, what's going on here?
Is going on?
For 10 years, wore the black and gold, and then for the other 10 wore purple and gold. Well,
you've got all the colors covered. You're red and white. I was, not to interrupt you, but at one of the competition days, I had some West Washington parents stop me and they said, you look all right in red. I said, the only bad thing about red, I said, I always like black because it's thinning on a fat guy. The red, I look like a hot air balloon, but that's all right. I'll be a hot air balloon with a big W on it. I'm 100% in. We're ready to go.
That's awesome.
So that's a great thing.
That's awesome.
But I like the red. I do like the red.
Well, you can do different things. You got the blue.
Well,
you got
can
the
mix
red.
it up with a little black.
Yeah, that's right.
My bottom half
that's
now
right.
would be thinning.
Yeah.
The top half not.
No,
so
even
black.
today I got
You
black.
got a little black.
I got the blue up top. I got my W.
Yeah,
You
so
can
we're-
mix and match.
We're coloring the gamut here. But I did have to get rid of a lot of stuff. It's costing me a fortune to change wardrobes because that's all I ever wore. But anyway, well, that's another story. People don't need to hear about that. They don't care. We're excited.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
excited for West Washington football. Always thought it was a great thing. I know people, in the past have think, that guy, you don't care. But I'm telling you, I had a great relationship with Coach Bousman over the years. I mean, we spent quite a bit of time doing this. We spent Thursday nights at McDonald's together for, golly, 14, 15 years, just talking football and just having a good time. And sometimes when those shows were over, we'd sit there, and of course, food,
Right.
we're sitting there eating Big Macs and talking football. Not much any better than that,
Right.
So enjoyed that time with him, and what a great legacy he left here. And, you see it all around the campus here, and,
For sure.
and what a great person that he was, and sorely missed for sure. But, we move on, great group of kids coming in.
It's interesting, you bring that up, and, it kind of goes along with what we were talking about with the staff. And, Philip did a phenomenal job here, and he built a great program. And, everybody, wants to ask, well, what are you going to do different? What are you going to change? We've always done this, we've always done that. And I think the best way to explain it is, the state of Indiana is so blessed to have a lot of really great people that have decided to be football coaches because they love kids.
Right.
And Philip was definitely one of those people.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think when you come in and you take a job, you've got to take the approach that they were playing football here at West Washington long before I ever got here, and they're going to be playing it long after I'm gone.
Exactly.
And likewise with the kids is, you're going to come through, but after you're done, they're going to keep playing football. And it's what you got to try to embrace is right now, we're the caretakers.
Yep.
That's our job. We are taking care of the program. And, Philip and the assistant coaches here, they've done a great job, and they've put a lot of things in place, and a lot of those things we're going to carry on. And then there's going to be some really neat things that we decide to add as well. And just, we're going to dive in, we're going to invest in the kids, we're going to love the kids, and we're going to take care of this program.
Right. Absolutely.
And when we're done, somebody else is going to come in and they're going to take care of the program, and that's just how this thing works.
Right.
And you pick up great bits and pieces, and you try to add to it along the way. But what a great foundation that was started here to build on.
Yep, just something to build on, as you mentioned. Well, Coach, I appreciate you taking the time today. I just want to say that we're excited. I'm excited to be a part of Senator Nation. I hope the fans enjoy what we're doing here. I'm excited. Mr. Akers does a phenomenal job with the program here as far as the live stream and also our radio program through the school. And as the season goes on, we'll have a lot of kids involved in the program here as well through the broadcasting, and be doing some of the filming and all aspects of the game. And you can hear it here. We'll have it every Friday night. And the great thing about the live stream is you can go back and watch it as well. And Craig's done such a phenomenal job with it that the IHSAA, they rely on him a lot of times to do these broadcasts. And I'm just excited to be a part of that, as I know you are as well. And we're just looking forward to this football season coming up here, and it's on us. We're here, and I think we were talking about that before we went on the air today, that a lot of things happen pretty quickly, and I know it's been an adjustment for you because you've still been on the road. I know you were talking about all weekend you were in LaPorte. Your kids had travel ball going on, and you were playing tournaments, and that ended, and trying to get back here and get things started. And we're excited. I think that's the best word you can say, and excited for Senator football.
Yeah, I mean, you brought up a couple points there that really hit home. One, this place and the yeah, I'm a football coach and I came here to run the football program, but when I took a tour of the school and my kids took a tour of the school with me, just like yours did when they came over.
Exactly.
What impressive programs we have here at West Washington, and we're extremely lucky to have great programs, great people running those programs, outstanding facilities. I mean, you go walk around the physical plane of this building, and we've got some really neat things going on out here. That's just, I'm always going to get excited about football.
Right.
But when you start seeing some of the total packages of this place and what the possibilities are, you get super excited. The other thing you brought up was, getting settled into a new place and part of the transition. And, yes, that's tough. That's always tough. But the kids have made it easier. The staff here has made it easy. Everyone has been extremely welcoming.
The community's made it easier for you.
Yeah.
You're just going to be living right over here for a little while.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. Right on the corner.
David Hoare and the Hoare family's property right over here.
Absolutely.
Where the big W is on the that they used to light up on game nights.
Yeah.
It was always exciting.
Yeah, so
to see that thing from several miles away. So you
it's
knew
cool.
what was going on, but.
I don't think you can get any closer.
No, you're about as close as you're going to get without living on the ground. So that's good.
But it was crazy for a while, like I said, this week is our first week of all of us here together. And not having to make that trip back and forth.
That's quite a trip too.
Yeah, it's 4 hours, one way. But we thought it was important to, we wanted our kids to finish what they started. My son was playing travel baseball, my daughter was playing travel softball, and they committed to those teams, and we had committed to LaPorte. And I think if you're going to stand up and you're going to preach the things you're going to preach to kids every day, then you got to walk the walk.
Example. Yeah.
Trust me, some of those long black highways coming back at about 1 o'clock in the morning.
Last night probably.
Yeah,
prime example.
Yeah. I questioned it a little bit, but at the end of the day, we did the right thing, and that's the same thing we're going to preach here. Is, you do the right things right. You do the right things right, and things will work out for you.
Absolutely.
Hard work pays off, and that's just where we're at in the process right now. Kind of like that driving is kind of like our practices right now. Fellas, don't blink. Don't blink. Just keep working. Just keep following the plan.
Right.
There's a method to the madness here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, once again, thanks a lot for joining us today, and we hope the Senator Nation will enjoy this little preseason tidbit here, and we'll do a little more as we get into things here down the road. But thank you for joining us. Real quickly, Saturday is the inter-squad scrimmage.
Yes, sir.
What time? Give us some times on that so everyone will know.
So a lot of things going on Saturday. I hope I don't mess any times up here because I don't have them in front of me.
Get them close as long as you're close.
We have some stuff going on that really doesn't have to do with the community, like pictures and parent meetings and stuff like that. But we're going to start scrimmaging at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
We're going to scrimmage from about 10 to 11:30. Part of that will be a practice, part of that will be scrimmage, but it gives a nice little glimpse of what's going on.
Right.
Then at about 11 o'clock during that scrimmage, the grill juices are going to start flowing, and we're going to try to raise some money for our youth football program.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to sell some ribeyes, some hot dogs, some hamburgers, and we have overhauled the youth program this year. We're playing in the PLAC league, and so we've had to go out and buy new helmets, shoulder pads, things like that. So this is going to help us have a little boost in the arm to help cover the cost of that. And we're also going to have a 50-50 raffle. We're going to introduce all the kids in our program, all the kids that went to our...
From the top to the bottom.
Yeah. The kids that went to our youth camp last week. What a great week that was.
Oh, yeah.
Got to spend the whole week with all the youngsters coming up in our program. We're going to introduce all our junior high kids as well. And, of course, our high school kids. And they'll be on display at the scrimmage.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. And a great time here starting 10 o'clock scrimmage, come out.
And we'll
have
serve,
lunch.
yeah, we'll serve till about 1 o'clock there, so.
Okay, so yeah, you got plenty of time to get out here, enjoy the grill, enjoy the atmosphere. Hopefully it's a beautiful day like today. Not too hot, but anyway, it's just a pleasure to be here, and we appreciate you taking the time, and we appreciate Craig for putting things on here for us, and join us throughout the year as we'll continue to bring Senator football here on WWSR and also on West Washington Live Stream. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.